Hi, TCG Bless here. I'm basically new to the whole YouTube scene when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! But I wanted to go ahead and make a deck profile on one of my favorite decks of all time, and that is Different Dimension Demons. One of the reasons why I love this deck so much is because not only it's a nice competitive deck, but it's a lot of fun taking advantage of fusion summoning, synchro summoning, XYZ summoning, pendulum summoning, link summoning. It just could just put out monsters on the field left and right. I really love this about this deck. It's sort of combo heavy. It's a hard deck to get into. That's why you don't really see too much deck profiles or a lot of people playing DD, because a lot of people like to say it's complicated. In my opinion, it isn't, but to each his own. But yeah, we're going to be going over the main deck. We're going to be going over the extra deck and the side deck. So let's go ahead and start it off. So the first three cards, as you guys saw in the beginning, is 3 DD Swirl Slimes. Now, this card is very important to have 3 of in your deck. This is a card that basically sets you up in the beginning. You can fusion summon in your hand with this card with any other DD cards or triple D. Incredible card. It's a main card. Need 3 of. Next, we have triple DD Necro Slime. This card can fusion summon in the graveyard. It's also a really nice card to have in your hand alongside Swirl Slime, because you can potentially go into 2 fusion summons with just 2 cards. So Necro Slime, I have it at 3. I wouldn't really put it at 2 or 1. I've seen some people play it at 2. I prefer it at 3. Also, this is a star foil Necro Slime, one of my favorites. Very beautiful card. Alright, moving on, we have triple DD Lamia. This is your main tuner of the deck. You can basically special summon this card by destroying or sending to the grave one of your DD cards or one of your Dark Contract cards. Really great card. It's going to allow you to go into all your synchros. Very easy to get out and to bring her out multiple times. So yeah, needed at 3. Next, we have triple D Oblivion King Abyss Ragnarok. Now, this card is so cool. Not only I have 3 star foils, 3 star foil versions of triple D Oblivion King. Also another one of my favorites in the deck. But this card is one of your main pendulum cards. You're going to be putting him on the pendulum zone, so that way you can get an extra special summon. There's also a synchro monster that we're going to be using that helps us get him out from the pendulum zone. Also, he's very easy and searchable for one of your link monsters to put him in the pendulum zone. And he's really great to go into, you know, any XYZ rank 8s or anything like that. So yeah, very easy to bring out in the field. Never had a problem. Next, we play triple DD Savant Copernicus. This card is basically your Foolish Burial. Not much to say. You can go into combos with him depending, you know, what cards you drew, obviously, alongside him. I was thinking about cutting him to 2 for the simple fact that we have Foolish Burial. But 3 is okay. I never really do any crazy plays with Copernicus, but it helps. This card really does help. It's a great card. Also in the pendulum zone, you have to keep in mind, I think you can only like special summon DD monsters. You know, the effects cannot be negated. The effects cannot be negated, and also you can negate an activated spell effect that would inflict damage to you. So if it does negate from the Pendulum Zone, you have to destroy this card. So it's okay. Next, we play triple DD Kepler. Kepler is important because he's going to help you search your Dark Contract. And also you can return a DD card to your hand. Not going to use that effect. I have never used that effect. Because it's not a Dark Contract. I think it's specifically a DD card. But you're going to be using him to add a Dark Contract from your deck to your hand. It's going to mainly be your searcher. Very great card. And it helps with a lot, but we're going to get into that a little bit later. Next, we are playing 2 DD Ghost. This is very important to have DD Ghost now in your different dimension deck. When this card is banished, you can bring back one of your other banished DD cards to the graveyard. It also acts as a Foolish Burial, and the way that you take advantage of this card's effect is, let's say you already have a Swirl Slime in the graveyard, and you get him to the graveyard because you Synchro Summon or whatever the case may be. You can send another Swirl Slime to the graveyard or another Necro Slime for like a follow-up play. So it's really, really good. The reason why I play 2 DD Ghost is because we do play Pot of Desires. So, you know, just in case I banish one, I used to just play it at 1 and it was okay. But 2 has been perfectly fine for me. Don't really want to draw into this. Either way, your Needle Fiber is going to be searching this out most of the time anyways. Next, we have Triple D Chaos King Apocalypse. Back then when I played DD, this card was basically useless. There was no reason to use this card at all, in my opinion. But now with the new Link monster, we kind of need... With the new Link monster, Gilgamesh, we have to at least play one of these guys. Because if we do activate Gilgamesh's effect, we're going to be bringing out Ragnarok and Chaos King with him. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, his effect is... if he's in the Pendulum Zone, you could banish 2 DD monsters from your graveyard and special summon this card. Which it does come to play because there's been a time where I got him out of the grave, got a Lamia, made a rank 8. So, you know, this card is really good. Next, I'm going a little bit different here. I'm playing DD Orthros. Now, I never used to play this card, but I realized how important this card can be for multiple reasons. This card is actually really, really good. Because one, if you're going into your level 6 fusion monsters, you can bring this guy out and go into a 10. Your Copernicus, you can go into rank 8. So he has multiple uses. Also, his Pendulum effect is once per turn you could target one spell or trap card on the field and one other DD or Dark Contract you control and destroy them. Okay, this is going to be important, and I'm going to bring this up later. Now we're done with the monsters. We're going to go ahead and go into the spells. Now we play triple Dark Contract. That's our search for any DD monsters. Not going to really explain too much there. It's pretty simple. Next, we only play 1 Dark Contract with the Swamp. Great card. I used to play 3 and sometimes 2, but I realized it's not really needed and you can search for it. You have your Swirl Slimes, but this card is your clutch card. It's basically an extra Swirl Slime, an extra Necro Slime, and a Polymerization. Now, next we play 3 Called by the Grave. Now, we don't like hand traps in this deck. It can basically just alt-right destroy you. The deck suffered from that before. Called by the Grave is going to help you with that, and it's going to help you get your combos off and get your boards up. But if you don't draw into this card and you get hand trapped, it's a bummer. But yeah, basically needed for the deck. Really, really good card. I consider everyone that's going to be playing competitively or locals or anything like that, you need to pick up, 3 of these, or at least pick up 1 or 2. Next, we play 1 Foolish Burial. Not much to say there. Next, we play 1 Upstart Goblin. Not much to say there besides draw 1, your opponent's gain 1 life. We're going to be going into, a lot of drawing cards in a second. 1 1-for-1. This is going to help you get into your Lamia. This is going to help you get into your Kepler. Really good card. Mandatory for the deck. Next, we play 2 Where Art Thou. Now, this is a card that we're going to be using to side out. So I'm going to be leaving Where Art Thou for a little bit later. So we're going to just push this up here. So next, we're going to go into Triple Allure Darkness. Your draw power. Every card is basically dark. Don't need to worry. And then 2 Pot of Desires. Our draw power. Not much to worry there. We're okay. And then 1 Into the Void. Another way to draw power and also send cards to the graveyard. Very, very good. So, before we go into the extra deck, we have Where Art Thou. This is going to help you get out level 1s or search out level 1s you may need. The 2000 damage is going to be worth it at the end, depending on the situation. Where Art Thou works really good with the deck because of Lamia and Kepler and so on. So now we're going to be going into the extra deck. The extra deck is basically the most expensive part of this deck besides like the side deck. So keep that in mind. That DDDs is all about the extra deck. So you're not going to really have anything in your main deck besides like Ragnarok that can do any kind of real damage. So starting off, we're going with the fusion. We have 2 Triple D Flame King Genghis. Now, this card is absolutely amazing because you're going to be using this card to special summon DD cards from the graveyard, to go into more synchro plays, to kind of recycle your Lamia and stuff. So to go to your 7, 8, 10, whatever the case may be, keep 2 of them. Now, alongside with King Genghis, we have High King Genghis, which is basically another Flame King Genghis. I just, everybody calls it the big Genghis, but the more powerful Genghis. And it doesn't need to be special summon to special summon a card from the graveyard. This one could be normal or special summon, and you can special summon from the graveyard. Absolutely incredible. Next, we're going into some Link monsters. So we're going to be going into Triple D Abyss King Gilgamesh. A lot of times I do not go into this card unless I'm going into Borreload, or unless I'm trying to get my Abyss King. It's situational because when you do bring this card out, you cannot do any more summoning besides DD cards. So this guy, either if you're going to be planning on going into a Borreload and getting this card in the graveyard for a Borreload, it's perfectly fine. But other than that, it's just for your DD plays, and it is helpful, and I highly recommend playing 1 in your DD deck. Next, we're going into Cross Sheep. Mainly, we're going to be going into its fusion effect. If you're fusion summon, you can special summon 1 level 4 lore. It's going to be either your Lamia or Ghost and stuff like that, and also your Synchros gain 700 attack. So Cross Sheep, very good. Next is your boss monster, Needle Fiber, Halkifiberax, however you say that. Honestly, I'm hearing that this card is basically in every deck now. This card is OP as hell, and that's because this card is going to help you out with a lot of your Synchros and bringing out your DDD Ghost. a lot of times if you bring this card out and you got your combo off, it's going to be game. So yeah. Next, we're playing Wave High King Caesar. I'm sorry. We played this card due to the fact that we have two. What's the name of it? Flame King Genghis. I did a lot of testing with this deck, and I've noticed that this card in particular is very easy to make with the Flame King Genghises because bringing them both out is very easy. And sometimes you can bring them out multiple times and then they're like sitting there on the board. Like you have no more synchro plays, or you can't go into another synchro play. Or sometimes it can be, this card can literally be like one of your only plays you can do. So it just really depends. You can also side this out for the rank 8, which we will be going into that in a little bit. That sounded funny, but okay. Next, our Synchro. Formula Synchron. This is going to help you go into... this is going to help you go into your other Synchros. This is also going to help you with some draw power. And we are able to go bring him out with Crystron. So, yeah. Basically, you would destroy Crystron, you know, bring this guy out and draw and go into a Synchro immediately on your opponent's turn. Next, we play Odd Eyes Meteor Burst. Remember, I was talking about Abyss King Ragnarok. With this card, I usually bring out this card if I have a Abyss King Ragnarok in the Pendulum Zone. When you bring this card out, you're going to be able to bring out your Abyss King, and you can go on some more plays and have a good board. So this is not mandatory. You don't need to play this card, but it's pretty good and it works with the deck really well. So I would advise to play it. Next, we go into Gus King. There's not much to really say about Gus King, but I would say it is another rank 7 that we do need, and also helps you bring out level 4 or lower. So like Lamia, Ghost, and stuff like that from your graveyard. Also, it's only DD cards, so remember that. Triple D Cursed King Siegfried, one of the best cards, one of the best synchro cards for the deck. Helps you negate. It helps you negate like face up spells, trap cards onto the next standby phase. Also, once per turn, if this card is destroyed by battle or card effect and is sent to the graveyard, gain 1,000 life points for each Dark Contract card you control. Doesn't really happen too much, but it could happen. Next, we are playing Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. You're going to be going into him because you're going to be needing him to negate monster effects. Very, very good card. I would say, yeah, pretty much needed for the deck. So, and very easy to bring out as well. So, yeah, not much to really say there, to be honest. Next, Triple D Gus High King Alexander. Now, why do I play this card? Because 1, very easy to bring out. And 2, also, it's like another Genghis. You can special summon a DD card or a Triple D card or whatever from your graveyard. Also, if you have 3 or more DD cards in the field, which is very, very easy, okay, it will gain 3,000 attack. This guy, you basically are going to bring him out when you just want to go for game. And he's very easy to bring out. Next, we have the God card, Satellite Warrior. Satellite Warrior, you're going to be using this card to open up with it on your opponent's turn with Needle Fiber. So you're going to discard Needle Fiber on your opponent's turn. You're going to bring out that level 2 Synchro Tuner. You're going to go into a 10, and you're going to bring out Satellite Warrior and potentially be able to destroy up to 3 cards on your opponent's shield without targeting. This card is amazing. So not much to say, but a lot of people are playing this in their DD decks, and I highly recommend. It's not an expensive card at all. The most expensive card in this deck is going to be the next card. So next, we have Borreload Savage Dragon. This card is incredible. Very easy to make as well, but the hard part of this effect is getting the Link monster in the graveyard to equip to this card to start with your Boral counters and stuff like that to get that going. But an incredible card. Highly recommend for the deck. I will go into some alternative in a second, but yeah, this is what we have so far. Now on to the side deck. We have pretty much a mix of things, but it's going to be some main cards here. So one, if you're going up against cards that are going to be comboing off, if you're going up against like kind of like a mirror match or something like that, we have two get outs. Reason why I have this in the side deck is because you can, target two extra deck monsters that were special summoned and, shuffle them back. Now, next we have Infinite Impermanence. Not much to say besides your main negation / hand trap. Really good. We only need two. Like I said, a lot of this is going to revolve around taking out your two War Arthtals in the deck. So next we have one Vice Typhon and one Dark Contract with the Witch. Vice Typhon can be very useful. It's basically like another Necro Slime, but it needs to be like a level 8 or higher triple D monster in the graveyard. And I think it has to be the same turn it was sent to the graveyard. So yeah. And also Dark Contract with the Witch. During your opponent's turn, your DD cards gain 1,000 attack during your opponent's turn only. And you can discard a DD card or Dark Contract to destroy a card on the field. Also, we have an extra Dark Contract if you want to side out. Also, we have here is going into the XYZ. We have Hope Harbinger, which is going to help negate some spell cards. We also have Dawn King Kali Yuga. This card you're going to be switching out with the other XYZ depending on the situation. But this card negates everything. This is like the god card of DDD cards. So yeah, also Starfoil. Pretty nice. Two Drool Lockbirds. Just really good hand trap. Not much to say. And here comes a little bit of spice, okay? Now, the spice for the extra deck is going to be Relinquished Anima. Now, you only need a one level 1 monster on the field to bring this guy out. And let me tell you how easy it is to bring out a level 1. You have your Kepler and your Lamia, which you can bring back repeatedly. And there can be situations where I believe that this card can do damage in this deck. Because you're going to be able to suck up one of your opponent's monsters with this card. And that can be a game changer, by all means. It could be a game changer. But I'm definitely going to be doing more testing with this. Next, we have Cursed Necrofear. This card is crazy. This card is absolutely nuts. You can target 3 of your banished Fiend monsters, which all your DD cards are Fiend monsters, and special summon this card from your hand, and then shuffle those banished monsters into the deck. That's absolutely incredible. I've used this card in the deck, and when this card does finally pop up in your hand, it's usually GG's from there. And man, it's a really good card. It's highly underrated. And then I believe, hold on, let me read the other effect. So if this card is in your graveyard because it was destroyed in your monster zone by by opponent's card and sent there this turn, special summon this card from your graveyard. Then you can destroy cards your opponents control up to the number of face-up spells and traps you control with different names. You can only use the effect of Cursed Necrofield once per turn. Honestly, this card is absolutely amazing. So basically, if you have 3 banished DD cards, which it's going to happen, you can shuffle them back into the deck, special summon this card. If your opponent destroys this card in any way in the monster zone, it goes to the graveyard. You could bring this card back and destroy up to any numbers of spell trap cards you have face up on your field, which you probably will, on your opponent's field. Incredible card. Highly underrated in the deck. And highly recommend it. Next is pretty much whatever. This is what we have here. Other cards you can play in the deck. I wouldn't even say these are like side deck cards, except like the Monster Reborn and the extra Flame High King Genghis. But all these other cards here that you see, including the Necrosphere, including the Anima, you know, this card, and the 2 Infinite Impermanence. Like these cards right here, honestly, like you can mix and match, you know, whatever you have, you know what I mean? This is not really a budget friendly deck, but I love this deck nonetheless. DDD's one of my favorite decks. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. If you want to start a discussion or anything like that, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. And thank you guys. Peace out.